Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our weekly Ascension Angel Messages for October 14th through the 20th, 2024. So, as we begin, I'd like to thank everyone who is returning to this weekly series and is still hanging in there with us. And thank you for your patience as I'm transitioning into my new job and expanding, because that's what I really feel like it is. My work here with you um, has been my center um, and grounding, my center and ground, and balance. And now I feel like all of that is expanding. So I thank you for your patience through this um, time period. And then also, I'd like to welcome anyone who's new to our Angelic Wisdom community. So if you haven't done so already, make sure that you're subscribed. Select the all notification bell, like or dislike, and of course, leave your comments. If you'd like to um, have an angel reading with me, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/services. Also, just be aware that because of my new job, I may be able to, hopefully get home or somewhere after 4. So that's a possibility. However, Saturday is what I'm going to leave available for a few readings. So if you're looking for a reading, you know, just be aware of that. Also, if you are looking to support my channel with a donation, you can go to my current website, theangelschool.com/service. I'm sorry. You can select my PayPal me link for Angelic Wisdom LLC. Okay. Also, if you haven't done so already, I have um, published the general monthly angel reading, and that link will be the first one that you will see in the description area below, as well as everything I've mentioned as well. The links from my website and my PayPal. And this week, I'm going to try to at least, have one or two daily card messages. So, you know, um, fingers crossed. There's like progress reports and stuff coming up. So I've been at school really late, but it is my hope to get back into those because it's a part of my spiritual practice as well and it grounds me. All right, let's take a deep breath. Hmm. And just tune into the love of your angels who are surrounding you right now. And so they've already kind of given me a sense of, they just showed me a cross, which is my symbol for, hardship or a challenge in some way. But they showed me the phallic symbol, which is my symbol for something manifesting. So this challenge, this test, or whatever it is actually going to sort of help many of you sort of transition or accelerate into your ascension process and or work through or shift through something um, very quickly. It's going to bring about an outcome or result that you've probably been developing, working towards, or hoping to manifest in some way. So be aware that it's going to be a very vulnerable experience. So that means when they show me a naked body, that's my symbol for vulnerability. However, and of course the backside mostly. But this also means to me in the moment that, let's get ready. let's embrace this. Let's remove the exterior, the facade that we no longer need. That was holding us back. And it's almost a feeling like I saw this, you know, person from behind nude, as almost if they were trying to find somewhere to hide, and they were struggling to find a hiding place, even though it seemed like it was night, and it feels like they're sort of searching through their own shadows. But where we are, it seems like we're used to going into our shadow and sort of hiding out there, and whatever that means for you, like, you got to think about, what is that facade that I rely on too much? It's like a crutch, and it's like it's not going to be available, or it's not going to respond to you, or it's not going to help you. And you know, it was almost like she or he was sort of leaning over, you know, as if, you know, the sense of this crutch is debilitating, and it has weakened you and made you feel powerless. And now it's not going to be there at all. It was fake power. And it's like you're going to have to learn to stand up in your power once and for all. And so, interesting, because the cards were laid down from right to left, which is when that happens, that tells me that this is something internal, an internal experience, and that this, where you're going to have to gather your strength to meet this challenge, is that you're going to have to really dig within yourself, believe. I don't know why they just wrote cash. It's like it's going to be rewarding for you. It's going to pay. It's going to pay it forward, or it's going to balance out something. So this seems like an exchange of energy. And the challenge or the hardship is going to be the full payback. Once, if you're willing to stand in your power, then the debt will be paid, owed. This is you owing yourself. You may have made a vow, and that's why we need to be careful about what we say, and not just like, oh, it's gonna, you know, but it's important to just not say things. It's important to not say things against yourself. It's important not to tell yourself something over and over again, even though the pain and the hurt makes you feel that way. I know what I'm talking about. The word grateful. And so it might be something as simple as gratitude. That's a power. Love is a power. These virtues of our soul, they are our power. But our ego, our fears has caused us to keep investing doubt in it. So instead of building a bank of these incredible virtues of the soul, we keep, basically, I don't know what the right analogy that I feel, but it's like you keep poking holes in it, and not and let it and draining the reserves of these incredible um, incredible facets of your soul. You can't lose them, you just lose the awareness to them. And there's just something about acceptance. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. I've discovered that as a result of the cold, it triggered my asthma. And so, yeah, sorry about that. But I think lung issues are really about acceptance. And there's probably something there I need to, in the transition, that I need to really focus on and accept. But yeah, so this is really important that we. So it's interesting that when I was meditating beforehand, the angels were Archangel Roquiel was, um, talking to me about just really accepting the joy of the transition in my life that has happened, and accept the joy of the children. I think because I've been seeing music a lot when I, you know, meditate and I'm praying about how I can help, and I keep seeing music and band-aids, like, and the sign of a cross that kind of meant, healing. And I think what it means is really, as I was looking at, reflecting, they love music. They are very musical, naturally musical, and um, their joy is something where the focus should be, and accepting that joy, but accepting that joy is now a part of my own life. I think that's what it means, but it's the same thing. Like whatever challenge that we all might be going through, to really lean into these virtues. I don't know if that's a proper word, but to lean into these virtues, because they ignite the flames of our soul and our hearts, right? Um, they write in the word orgasm, they give us that spiritual orgasm of inspiration, of exuberance, energy. And when we start to rev up with this this sort of fuel, um, we become invincible. We believe we're invincible, meaning we believe that there are no limits, even though we are faced with challenges that we are aware of, but they just don't have the same kind of power over you any longer. And so this is going to be really important, as the paradigm shift that needs to happen for all of us is that love is real, and it's a real power, oneness, you know, gratitude, appreciation, joy, peace. These are not platitudes. These are not, something that we just put up in our minds and our hearts, and it's not wishful thinking. We can really know this, most of us who've been on our journey, spiritual journeys, because we've failed so many times, and we've seen what, you know what fear and all of its many um, facets have left us feeling like at the end of most days and years and months, right? Decades. So we've had enough experience to know that it just keeps bringing on the pain, keeps bringing on the suffering. The shadows are not our place of safety. They've not really ever provided that. They've provided the illusion of it, because that's the only reason why we keep going back to them. But now is the time to finally lay down our heads, lay down our swords, our shields, and our heads, our ego, and put it to rest, this paradigm of fear, and start gathering the momentum of these beautiful qualities of the soul, and start actually working with them and holding them up as a shield of light and a sword of truth, and to courageously walk through the day as an illumined one of tremendous inspiration, love, freedom, peace, wisdom. Okay, so let's take a look at the archangel that we're working with. Yes, this makes sense. Archangel Roquiel is actually a seraphim, And he works with grounding the energies that come through humanity, that we're always like these, we're like cell towers for the light of the universe, the light of source, and the web of light that flows throughout the universe, our universe and all other universes, connecting us all in a web of oneness. And so he anchors that energy from our earth star chakras into hollow earth. And so his energy is, um, you can see this, you can see it on the outside of his wings, it's this gold and black, right? So, and you see what is it, in Australia, Uluru. So that's sort of his retreat, spiritual retreat. And when he comes in, really focus on being grounded. So in this week, what grounds you? And that might be a hobby. It might be um, a location where you just feel completely safe, or where you're able to ground and meditate. It could be out. It could be your spiritual um, altar, But wherever you feel grounded, if it's just when you're crocheting or cooking, really, or connecting with your pet, going for walks with your pet, or going for a run or working out at the gym. There are no limits to where we can find connections that anchor us. This is the week to really be in that practice, because they're writing that it will really bring you, draw in the qualities of peace into your cells and into your mind and into your heart. And you will be anchoring that through your feet, through your the roots, energetic roots. And Archangel Roquiel will be able to draw these energies and align the earth and the universe with these energies that will help to bring about this sort of deep inner peace, this deep inner knowing, so that we can all release our shadows collectively. Remember that you're not just, it's never just about you. I haven't said this in a long time, but the paradigm of fear is about me, and the paradigm of oneness, where our ascension process is taking us, is about we. So when you find ways to stay grounded and centered in a practice that doesn't have to be like you're sitting and meditating, although that might be it for you. But whenever when we're grounded in our essence, in our gifts, in our purpose, we are drawing peace into the world and activating it for many others. And so this is what he means by entering into higher planetary service and being a blazing light. As you work with the challenge of not being able to utilize the shadows for escaping being naked before the world. And this, you have to understand, is the first step, and the most important, I don't want to say final, but it really kind of is, when you are able to be yourself. They're writing, that's when the joy takes over. And our egos has been working so hard to convince us to be afraid of being ourselves. You know, like even in my job, I'm a very different person in some ways, but not really. I'm more passionate, more, let's say, I'm a very strict teacher, but it's not for me. It's for them because of all the things I know that are out there, and also for all the things that I know that are inside of them, that I want them to be able to bring that out and focus and, you know, just clear the distractions. So, in being myself fully, um, everybody might not understand, but I always explain. But they still won't always understand. But you still keep explaining from the heart, right? So this mix of being, all heart, which is the first thing that comes easiest to me, but also accountability, having standards. That's what people refer to me as being strict, because I have those standards and accountability. And I'm starting to see things in the children that they don't see in themselves. And that's the standard I'm holding them to, not mine, but the one that's within them. And so, you know, some of my colleagues are already saying, let it go. And you just I never give up. There's always another way. You don't keep trying the same way, but you keep waiting for a different one. So I may not go right to it the next day, but I will keep going. But this gives me joy to to know that I will eventually find a way to help somebody, that I can find the words, or I can find the example, or I can find the moment, the right moment, never giving up. And we have to not give up on ourselves in the same way, that even though we're used to the comforts of our shadow and all the stories that are really put downs that create doubt, we can't give up. And the only way that you will find it easier to keep moving forward and expanding and just becoming erect in your power is as you keep becoming yourself, that you allow yourself to be naked before everyone, because those those cloaks were hiding the light. And once you know how to shine your light without those cloaks of illusion and shadows, then no matter what you have on, it will never be hidden again. And joy will never elude your life, or prosperity, or abundance, or a sense of everything is going to be okay. It will never leave you or be able to be taken away from you ever again. Okay, so let's take a look at the first card for the beginning of the week. Oops, I hate to mess up. Okay, so this week presents a lot of, I keep feeling the word challenges, but changes. It's almost like this Wheel of Fortune card is really saying that these challenges are going to bring about a lot of changes, just like I was talking about in the beginning. Changes for the better. The test will seem as though, and that's the part of the test. The test is that any test will seem as though you are going to it's like it's going to be too much, it's going to be really hard. But ultimately, the test is to disavow you of those illusions. Don't be afraid of any challenge, because it is a door of opportunity. And in some cases, and most times, several doors of opportunity. And they will lay out before you in the timing that is right for you. This is the thing about the universe. Everything is the right time. It's not being done to you. You've asked for it with signals from your heart. And the universe is transmitting the light and the love and the wisdom, the keys to give you the knowledge to accept and recognize the moment or the moments. Three of Pentacles. Very interesting. So, this is going to require you to work with others through this challenge, these opportunities that are unfolding. If you've been having trouble, and what's interesting is that this is the Mozart card. And, I've been, in one of my first grade and second grade classes, we've been talking about Mozart, and the children were just so amazed. And it's so interesting that they remembered every detail of this film that was extremely short and extremely boring and old-fashioned looking, with this online series that I'm kind of forced to use. It's Canadian, and because it's the only thing we could afford, but that's not the point. And it's so interesting because, here we had this genius where his gifts were fully ignited in full blossom, such an early age, but had such a challenging life and a short one, but ultimately an impactful one. And, when I think of Mozart, Beethoven, one is very light. And even though there are a lot of intense emotions, but it's always through this sort of purity, is it not? So focus on the purity of your gifts, the uncomplicatedness. Get out of the shadows of trying to hide because you're afraid of being vulnerable, which is one way saying afraid of being gifted. This question of, I don't know what my purpose is, that keeps running through the heart like a, you call those blips, this guy that run those signs. That means to me that you're sitting on it. You know what it is, but it's something you can't accept because it doesn't look like the world. You're trying to find you're trying to look out in the world and plug yourself into the world. That's the matrix of the ego. Your gift, you can only see your purpose, your gift, once you do not try to see yourself as trying to plug in to the matrix. That is a matrix of conformity, not of free expression or spiritual expression or authenticity. It doesn't honor that authenticity in the way that only you can. So I would stop saying, I don't know, a lot. That I would stop saying. And I've mentioned before how I learned that when I was doing these readings, I would see something and I would say to myself, but I don't know what that is, because they would give me a letter or like the beginning of a word, and sometimes, and they still do this to keep me sort of in training and kind of, because you can't get too comfortable, right? Or sometimes it would be a word, but it's not spelled. And so then I would play this guessing game. And my first instinct, I knew what it was. But then my brain wants to say, but that's not quite the right spelling. This is how doubt is created. Being intellectual and being intuitive, they can go hand in hand, but your intuition is what you always must trust. You must not place the intellect as something higher over it. Because one of the things is that we're getting stuck in dealing with people, even, and understanding ourselves, because we want it to make things to make sense with our mind instead of listening to our hearts. When I just told my students yesterday, you do not judge anyone, any book, by its cover. You have to open that book. Every book you open, meaning souls, are incredibly deep, but also fascinating and amazing and incredibly special and unique. And so when people were talking in a faculty meeting, a meditation on the prayer of St. Francis and his life, and the thing that occurred to me came to me was about, and this was the reading last week of the Archangel Roquiel about animal communication, and that's what struck me, because in communicating with the animals and animals communicating with us, number one, it's all heart based. And that's a completely different language. The heart and the mind do not speak the same language, in the sense that the mind's interpretation or translation can be fallible, but the heart is always true. And when you're talking to people or interacting with people, the heart gives you an answer, but then your head quickly jumps in and gives an opinion or judgment, or is criticizing. And then it eclipses the moment, that special moment of opportunity where you could be set free and engaging through love and experiencing peace between you and harmony. And the mind will turn it into another chaotic drama story. Just in the same way that you know your purpose, but you're afraid to acknowledge it because you're not fully vulnerable to the investment of what your heart, the truth that your heart is revealing. Because you're what? Scared. Usually the mind makes us scared of the risks. Risks sometimes is just another way, it's your ego's way of talking about opportunities. Risks are outside of our comfort zone. That's where opportunities lie. So if you cannot bridge these two concepts together through the language of the heart, you will be in separation, duality in your mind, and cannot figure out who you are or what you want and what you are already doing. Your purpose is where you are standing right now. Let's just get that out of the way, and let's get that other definition that's causing you to chase your own tail. Like you're running around in circles. You ever seen an animal just chasing his own tail? That's what you're doing when you allow yourself to think that your purpose is anything other than where you're standing right now. And if you're standing in a challenge, that's your purpose. Meaning what we've been talking about today, it's your purpose to help you to stand in your power, Because until you stand in your power, you can't fully be activated in the purpose of joy that you're seeking. But the purpose of joy is wherever you're standing, is what's blocking you from acknowledging that joy that you need to have acceptance for. And you need to accept that wherever you've been placed, it's not that just God put you there, you brought yourself there, and God empowers you wherever you are at all times. You are always a channel of light. There is no circumstance or no situation where you are not being. And even when you are being your worst intentionally, you are activating. You are activating for others. You are provoking the challenges, the changes, the opportunities that they need to bring forward in order to fulfill whatever things they want their soul came here to do, as well as for the planet and the incredible light that will be anchored. So here we have the Empress now. And I get a sense that when the Empress comes in, she amplifies her threes, right? So she's nurturing this your gifts, your purpose, and especially in your career or in your physical reality, your physical domain, however you want that to look like, feel like, be like, right? She is bringing all of that growth and expansion into your life right now, which highlights that although this week is going to feel challenging, it's all about nurturing growth and expansion through changes, profound changes that might, put you in a difficult spot, but it's really the light shining, you know, immensely into the shadows, almost to eradicate it to the degree that you will be open to your vulnerability, will be the opportunity, risks for you to really be free of your ego in the way that it was the dominant instrument of navigation for you. Let's get rid of that tool. All right. And the card I already pulled from the bottom of the deck, let's just look at this, is the Hanged Man. So one, because the cards were laid down in reverse, again, this is about one, don't take this week personally. Don't fall for the illusion. It's not a setback, it's a setup. It's a setup for opportunity risks, taking you outside of that comfort zone where the expansion, the growth has already been fertilized, developed, and blossoming. And it's just like, step into it. Why don't you? So the thing is, the hangups are within yourself. They're not out there. They never were. So if you're waiting for something to change out there, you're waiting for something to be different, or you're waiting for somebody else to do something, that's your purpose. Do it for yourself by believing in yourself, by being vulnerable, even if it's a tiny little bit, because that'll take you to the fence of that garden to give you enough of a whiff of what is waiting for you. If you would just be willing to tear down that fence where you stand, or hop over that fence where you were standing, however you want to get over it, there's no rules about that. But know that there are no real hangups. They're just the ones inside of you, and that's what you're facing right now, because you have incredible potential and incredible desires, and they all are ready to be fulfilled. Have a beautiful week and many blessings to you. God bless you.